Welcome to Senior Insights. My name is Cynthia, and today we are going to talk about whatever comes out of my mouth, which could be anything, anything. But I had originally wanted to talk about worrying, and so that's why I titled this video, My Secret to Overcoming Worry. And the name it to tame it technique. So I don't even know if we'll go there, but I hope we talk about worry a little bit, because who of us has not been a worrywart at some point? How many of us are worrywarts now? What do we worry about? Some of us worry about everything, every little thing. Some of us seem to have it all under control. I wonder if they do. I wonder how they do it. Maybe it's coming to Senior Insights and just chatting around the coffee table. That could help. Decrease your anxiety, because we're always talking about it. We're always giving you helpful hints on what you could do to be calmer, to feel better, and to be less lonely. So, one of the things that I think about with anxiety and memory, I have had anxiety my whole life. I can remember when I was a little kid, my hands would sweat with anxiety. I was embarrassed to shake anyone's hand or hold anyone's hand, because my hands were always wet. Because I was always scared or anxious or nervous. Does that ever happen to anybody else, or did it happen? I don't think I have enough hormones now to make me sweat too much. That doesn't mean I don't have to take a shower, because I do, trust me. But the secret is to recognize, maybe the secret is, maybe you'll tell me what the secret is, but I think, like every other thing, like when you're addicted, like when you have a problem, when you're trying to achieve something, you have to figure out what it is. So if you're anxious and you're afraid to shake someone's hands because you're sweating, your hands are saturated, you've got to figure out why. Why are my hands saturated with sweat? And if it's because you're afraid and you're anxious because you're insecure or whatever, you have to name it. You have to say, my hands are sweating because I am feeling anxious. Or my hands are sweating because I don't feel good enough. Or my hands are sweating because he's much smarter than I am. So all kinds of things that cause your hands to sweat, you have to name them. You have to identify them. Just like everything else. Then you have to come up with a plan. Well, what am I going to do about this? Do I want to go around sweating with sweaty hands the rest of my life? How can I be a businesswoman? How can I be a nurse if my hands are always clammy? I don't know. But, that's just one example. But I'll share a few of the things that I still worry about sometimes, but I worried about a lot more, because I've actually learned a lot doing this channel. Not that I've had these tremendous insights, but it's been really good for me. It's helped me deal with my anxiety. So I don't know what that has to do with anything. I know you're not all going to start a YouTube channel. You could. one of the things, you have emotional worries, like, am I going to be laying dead on the floor and no one even knows that I'm there? Am I going to be abandoned in this house and no one comes to see me? All of those things are legitimate emotional fears and anxieties. And who wouldn't be anxious about it? Who wouldn't be anxious or worried about it? So that's something that I have worried about a lot, and I have to say that it's still in the back of my mind. That's in the future, that I'm anticipating will happen, but it most likely won't happen. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not sure I understand what I'm saying, but I'm saying something. I'm worrying about something in the future that I have no clue if it's going to come to pass or not. So why worry about it? Or why not name it as I am worrying, I am anxious because I'm afraid of abandonment. And then figure out, well, what can you do about that? Can you verbalize your fear of abandonment to the people that you're fearing are going to abandon you? Can you try and make more contact with them? Can you reach out? Whatever it is, so that fear and anxiety hopefully will decrease, and you'll realize that it's something that you shouldn't worry about. It's way in the past. You can do some things about it. You can reach out to your loved ones and tell them your fear. And then you can also take some action steps by calling them, writing them, sending them a card, a short text, something, so they know that you exist. Then there's another logistical kind of worry. Like, what if I can't live here? And I'm sure that you people, many of you, have already gone through this where you have had to make a decision to leave your home and you thought you were going to be there for the rest of your life. And some people make that decision and they're very smart about it and they don't have any regrets about it. And then there's other people that worry about it. That, well, what if I, don't have, what if I can't go grocery shopping? And what if I can't drive anymore? Or what if, and what if, what if? Those are things that you don't really even have any information on. Once again, it's kind of anticipatory grieving. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't be prepared for it, because those things certainly are possible. So what do? You say, I am worried about whether I'm going to be able to stay in my house. I don't know what I should do. So you've identified the problem. So now you take some action steps. Well, make a plan. If you're afraid you can't drive anymore, how will you get to doctor's appointments and stuff? How will you get your groceries? Well, there's Uber. Can you believe I've never used an Uber, and where I live there probably isn't such a thing. There's senior centers have pickups. Your kids may be available to drive you, maybe a neighbor. So if you if you identify your fear and then you figure out how you're going to approach this fear so that you're not so anxious about it, you write all these things down and figure out how you're going to deal with them. Do as I say, not as I do. But it's, once again, it's future uncertainty, and I think that a lot of us have that anxiety. What if you have a 2-story house? What if I can't get up the stairs next week? All those what ifs. It's not happening now, but it might. So what are you going to do about it before it happens? Are you going to maybe move your bedroom down into the dining room or whatever? You know, I don't really know. I don't know. But I do know that worry affects our whole lives. It makes us miserable. We don't need to be miserable. We don't want to be miserable. So take the things that we can control and figure out how to deal with them. Name it to tame it. Identify what's making you crazy, what's making you worry, what's making you anxious, and figure out how to deal with it. Whether it's by making a plan, whether it's by maybe looking at some other senior options while you're still in control. Maybe it's not so bad. Someone said in the comments, get an apartment where you don't have to worry about mowing the lawn and all that. I sure would like to not have to worry about some of the things that I worry about with this yard, definitely. But would I like to live in an apartment where people know your business and I don't know. I don't know. But how do you really know unless you educate yourself and figure it out somehow? So, what are your feelings about nursing homes? Think about all of these things that make you anxious and worried. I have the feeling that as these issues come up that elderly people tend to worry about, is they'll become less and less worrisome or anxiety producing, because we're growing into this phase of elderliness. We've never been here before, so it's kind of the fear of the unknown. I don't know, I told you I was going to wing it. Then, am I going to be able to afford to stay in my home? What if I live so long that I spend all my money? For those that are fortunate enough to have maybe some investment or some retirement, but those who have Social Security, what if the costs go up so much and the Social Security doesn't keep up? What am I going to do? Where am I going to live? I know someone, a dear friend of mine and a former channel and a YouTube channel creator, is in that particular pickle, I'll call it. Her rent keeps going up, up, up. And she's in controlled housing or subsidized housing or whatever you call it. I don't know. Where it's based on what your income is, and that's how they figure out your rent. Or look at me with that tax situation. That is horrendous. It makes me think, well, it made me think, do I really want to stay here? It makes me wonder, why should I be paying over $2,000 more a year to stay here when it's kind of aggravating me? You know, the trees, the hot tub, the leaves are coming down now. I don't know, I'm just winging it. So that's kind of a financial worry. And I think we've all grown up with financial worries, probably, unless you were very fortunate and grew up with a silver spoon in your mouth. And I'm sure that there are people on this channel that are very comfortable and don't have to worry about that stuff. And I know that there are other people that are very, I'm not going to say poor, because then they don't have poor attitudes, but they don't have a lot of funds, let's put it that way. And it must be stressful, it must be anxiety producing. So what do you do? The question is, will I have enough money to live here? Well, first of all, you have to figure out how much money you have. Maybe you have more than you think you have. Maybe you can do better than you think. Because remember, if you pay attention to your spending, you may actually be able to save some money. I'm starting to spend. You know what did it for me was those Amazon gift cards, because it was like free money. And I like to spend. I don't like to pay for it, but I do like the kick of buying things. So you have to figure out how much money you have. You need to get your money under control, and then figure out if you will be able to, or if you are not going to be able to stay in your home more than 3 years or 4 years, what are you going to do? Don't wait until the last minute. Have some kind of plan, because then you'll be less anxious. So, wasn't this a happy subject? Didn't I just talk to you yesterday about laughing? Yoga laughing. I want to know, did anyone look that stuff up? You should. You should, because you might not have any more worries if you look it up and you laugh. And even laugh about your worries and your anxieties, because even though they can come to pass and they're not necessarily unrealistic, there's nothing you can do about it except identify it and try to figure out. Identify, this is like, I'm worrying about something, anticipatory grief. I'm worried about something that could or might or will happen in the future. So when that happens to you and you name the big problem is, where am I going to live in the future when I can't walk and talk and all that stuff? But breaking it down into smaller pieces. Instead of fighting the big problem, get some information. Figure out who's going to be there in the future to help you. Instead of, if you're worrying about money, it means you don't have a clear financial target. You don't understand your finances. So you have to look at it and create a to-do list. And you know what I'm going to say. Do a no-spend month. Look at your finances. Look at your income. See what you have. Monitor every single penny that you spend. And then your worries will disappear. Trust me, on that. I know the financial part. My worries have decreased dramatically, except when that tax bill came in and then they surfaced again. So, finding joy isn't about eliminating worry. It's about learning how to manage it. It doesn't, so that it doesn't manage you, so it doesn't ruin your day. Now that I've shared this secret, don't go after your biggest fear. Think of one that caused you to stress today, maybe gave you a small worry. Go in the comments and just name it. Just name it. What did you name it? What small steps are you going to do to come to terms with it? Let's start building a community of tamers. Let's tame this anxiety. Let's laugh about it. We learned yesterday that laughter reduces anxiety and stress. I'm excited for you because I know you can do this. I know you don't do everything I say. I know that you didn't look up laughing yoga. But take one little morsel of what I'm suggesting and think about it. Let it stew for a while and then maybe take some action and do something about it. Nothing feels better than taking action. I will see you tomorrow on Senior Insights. Thank you.